So in this video, I'll be talking about my current top 5 in the WWE and AEW. The shout out to Wrestling with Heat. Kevin tweeted out the other day asking YWC members to post a video discussing this topic, so I thought I'd chime in now with my effort on this. So yeah, this is in no particular order, but to begin, we'll discuss Bobby Lashley, who for me is probably one of the better things to watch on Raw these days. A large amount of that credit is due MVP's way since he's returned as well full-time on television. He's definitely made things a little bit more interesting, and I feel the pairing with MVP and Lashley has worked. A good showing in the championship match at Backlash recently, and I'd like to think Bobby would get a shot at holding the WWE Championship at some point, especially now that it looks like he's ditching the stupid Lana gimmick. So Bobby Lashley at the moment would be my top 5. We then move over to AEW and discuss Orange Cassidy, who I was just talking about with my brother the other day, saying that how if a casual fan switched AEW on and saw this guy laid back as ever with his hands in his pocket and performing drop kicks and dives over the top rope, how you couldn't but put the remote down and continue to watch the show. The entertainment that Orange Cassidy brings in terms of his simplistic acts is quite astonishing, to be fair. You wouldn't say on paper maybe this gimmick should work, but it works, and that's a brilliant thing about it. And most recently, now he's heading into a match with Chris Jericho at Fyter Fest, and it's a chance for us to see Orange Cassidy in a prominent position, which I'm glad to hear AEW are doing. And yeah, I think that's going to cross over with some potential Mike Tyson involvement as well. So all good signs for Orange Cassidy at the moment. So he's another guy in my top 5, and all credit to him and AEW with that. Next, we'll move on to Samoa Joe. Now, although he isn't wrestling at the moment, he's doing the next best thing. And at the moment, look, it's proven to be a huge success. He's at the commentary table now with Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips. The less said about those two, the better, I'd say. Tom Phillips isn't that bad, but Byron, that's a subject for another video, I think. But with Samoa Joe, look, a commentator who, most times a colour commentator, is always somebody who's been in the ring. He does exactly what you're supposed to do. He provides that insight to the fans at home, to listen to, what makes sense, and obviously stuff that we haven't heard. So for instance, he'll tell you exactly the meaning behind what's going on in a match. He'll tell you what would be expected from a face or a heel at that match to do and why they're doing it. The psychology aspect of it he explains really well. He's very, very good. He doesn't overdo it with his explanations, and he brings in that emotion and that sort of excitement to a match at the right time. He doesn't overdo it. It doesn't seem forced, and that's the good thing about Samoa Joe. It's a breath of fresh air with him recently, especially that match at Backlash with Edge and Orton. A lot of credit goes to Samoa Joe. I'm sure he's aware of the positive feedback, as the WWE must be. And if it is true that he's not in the ring anymore, then it's safe to say he's got a comfortable position at the commentary table for years to come. Although I know a lot of people compare him with Taz, for the obvious reasons. It's one of the similar style wrestlers, from this sort of point where they end up having injuries, transition to commentary. And I get that, but I think already he's showing a lot better signs of a commentary than Taz ever did. That's not to say Taz was bad. Great run with Michael Cole on SmackDown. Those two really highlight of that show then. But going back to this, Samoa Joe, keep up the good work, and yeah, I can't wait to continue hearing him every week on Raw. Makes it bearable, at least from that point of view. And next we move on to Randy Orton. So it's safe to say that many people will probably have Randy in their list of top 5 performers at the moment. With this, it's just hard to say when the last time he was this, this much momentum behind him, put it that way. He's had a great match with Edge. Not quite the best wrestling match ever, but definitely a solid, showing at the Backlash show on Sunday. And look, the sadistic character has returned with a mixing of that legend killer gimmick, which was probably his best gimmick to date, mixed in with his Viper psychotic heel gimmick. And look, Orton, he's been the one constant over the last 15 or 20 years. Even Cena can't say that. Obviously Cena's drifted into Hollywood now. Fair play, he's taken advantage of the opportunities put his way, but Orton has been that one constant. and a lot of different opinions and all. And some people, you know, think he's just completely laid back and don't see, you know, all the greatness. Some people can see that he's that good, he doesn't need to put in that much effort, and he still, you know, proves to be one of the best performers in the company year in, year out. And look, in ring wise, I think it's faultless from Orton. You know, he's always solid. I don't think I've ever heard of him injuring people per se. You know, I might be wrong. If I am, leave it down in the comments below, but I don't think that's been the case. To complete the list, it's Drew McIntyre, who probably had one of the worst hands dealt to him in this pandemic era, for the fact that the biggest moment of his career was in front of no fans, but he's handled that well. It still goes down in the history books as a win over Brock Lesnar, and you know, his 2 pay-per-view matches since have been good. You know, I won't call them great just because of the fact that it's difficult to have any momentum in a feud and without fan reaction, especially when it's for the title. You have to do a lot of that work and then fill in the gaps for where a crowd reaction would be. So, you know, that I'll take into account, but nonetheless, he's probably one of the more likeable champions in recent memory in the WWE, and he's doing a good job. And you know, this rumoured match with Randy Orton at SummerSlam, if it takes place, it's definitely going to be, you know, the marquee match on the card, in my opinion, and rightfully so. So, look, that's my top 5 there done. Once again, a thank you to Kevin of Wrestling with Heat. Along with Wrestling with Heat and also Wrestling Mixtape, I also have started to live stream now, so you'll get those videos every week with NXT, AEW, Raw and SmackDown reviews. We do vary them through the channel, so, you know, as and when, subscribe to all 3, and you'll get those streams with us talking about the shows. So yeah, that's that. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the 5 I mentioned. Let me know which 5 you currently think are the best at this current moment in all wrestling companies. And yeah, I'll see you again in the next video, and thanks very much for watching.